world, his viral wisdom videos have garnered 500 million views across social media. Joining us now, motivational storyteller, filmmaker Jay Shetty with advice for college grads. And so you're like a young Tony Robbins, is that right?
I've been called that before. I'm not sure I take that as a compliment. That's a positive thing.
Why? He's amazing.
Yeah, he is.
You should watch that video. I'm not your guru. He's
yes,
really
I have.
What do you do? Tell us what you do.
I make online videos. I make online content that helps people help people think outside the box, be motivated, feel inspired, connect with something from wherever they are in the world. And I think that that's what we need today, to democratize inspiration.
And specifically helping millennials, right? And find that right career path for themselves. Of course, an opportune time here to speak to a lot of millennials because many of them are getting ready to go, or rather if you're on the cusp of, I guess, Gen Z and millennial, getting ready to go to college or getting ready to enter the workforce. And so what advice do you have for those people? Yeah,
definitely. So I think that I look at something that Charles Cooley once said, and he said that today, I'm not who I think I am not who you think I am who I think you think I am. And it's like, I'll just let that blow your mind for a moment. We live in this perception of ourselves, which means we live in this noise. We don't really understand ourselves fully. So my big piece of advice is start with self-awareness. Just get to stripping away everything you've been told about yourself, everything you've learned about yourself, and allow yourself to find your element. So start off with your passions, the things that move you, the things that motivate you. Start there.
I think what's really interesting about motivational gurus, right, is that I actually think if someone spent a lot of time to codify and think through ideas and they put them out there in a way that is compelling to people, helps people think, that's why I like Tony Robbins. I think he's really passionate about it. I think he's really thought through these things. What have you done to make yourself an authority? Have you read extensively? Have you spent months at a time writing through and working through ideas? Have you experimented with those ideas with lots of people? How did you get there?
Yeah, sure. So one of the biggest things I did is when I finished business school, I turned down my corporate job offers and went and lived as a monk for 3 years in India. So I practiced meditation for 4 to 8 hours a day, slept on the floor, lived out of what I like to call a gym locker. All my possessions were inside it. I basically experimented with living simply and thinking highly. And throughout that time, we experimented with multiple things that are trending today. So mindfulness, habit formation, training ourselves to control our minds in ways that allow you to perform at higher paces and higher rates of performance.
Let me ask you a question, Jay. I've done Headspace. I did therapy for 15 years before my therapist retired. It seems to me that one of the core principles that's evolving in the world right now is this concept of when you have stress, when you have anxiety, when you have fear, when you have unhappiness, don't fight the emotion. It's to embrace and sit with the emotion. Is that, and it seems to me that that's a new idea that's evolved in the past handful of years.
Yeah, it's learning to become an observer in your own life. So we all know that if there's a situation or a challenge that our family or friends are having, we know that when we're observing them, we can actually help understand it from an objective perspective rather than feeling involved. So it's almost like, how can you become an observer of your own life? Watch what you're getting wrong, be less judgmental of yourself, be less critical of yourself, and actually dive in from the position of a guide or a mentor in your own life. So you're learning to counsel yourself effectively, which is phenomenal.
What do you think of Headspace?
I think it's brilliant. I'm a big fan of Andy Puddicombe. I think the work that he's done to get Headspace and mindfulness out in the world is phenomenal.
I think it's really, I agree. So are you doing it now?
I'm not doing it yet, but I got to try it. I've been using this app called Calm, actually, which is sort of similar, but it's more.
I'm on day 11. I just finished take 10. I'm actually about to do 11. I did the commuting exercise as well, too. I think it's really good.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I think it's a great product. I think it's the best way of making it really, really simple, and it allows people to start where they are, rather than forcing them to do something crazy.
For people who are graduating college, I mean, would you recommend to them that they would go and practice meditation for as long as you did before coming back? I mean, is that something that you would advocate going forward? How does that continue to help your life?
Yeah, sure. So no one needs to go off and become a monk. That's not what I'm advocating. But I interviewed Tim Ferriss last year. And Tim Ferriss wrote this book, Tools of Titans. And he spoke about 200 successful people he's interviewed. 80 to 90% of them have a meditation practice. Now that's huge. 80 to 90% of the most successful people in the world meditate and practice for mindfulness. So I'm a big proponent of people starting to add that to their lives, whatever they do in their daily lives.
Okay, so Forbes 30 under 30 for Europe. You have over 1 million followers on social media. How are you making money off of this business, off of these sort of recommendations and in some ways self-help recommendations that you're putting out there?
So I work with a lot of big brands, a lot of big companies, creating products whereby millennials can navigate the workspace better. So I'm working with a lot of big brands that are coming to me saying, Jay, we want to know how to engage our millennials better.
Well, a little bit like what Ariana is doing with Thrive, right?
Yes, very much so, yeah. So we're partnered on a few projects as well.
But I think the difference there is maybe the proactive way of, with Thrive, it seems more of just taking care of the employee and the employee's rights maybe versus a little bit different than what you're doing. Is that the case?
Yeah, what it is for me is I'm trying to see how companies can actually get the most out of their millennials and help them reach their potential. So I feel there's leaders in the millennial generation. There's people out there who can have a real impact in your organization. How can you find them, nurture them, and create leaders from them?
And what is the answer to that?
The answer is you've got to be really listening to them. You've really got to spend time with them. You've got to learn with them. That model of being the boss, being the authority. I remember Eric Schmidt in his book, How Google Works, wrote that we need to not listen to the hippo in the room, which is the hired-paced person's opinion. And he was saying that in big organizations, we usually listen to the CEO or the leader. But now every leadership member needs to have a millennial on their team who can play devil's advocate.
You were a monk. You were a Buddhist monk or a Hindu monk?
I was a Hindu monk.
Okay, Hindu monk. How much of the new thoughts around acceptance, observing, that have made their way into modern meditation, into the apps, into the programs, do those hail from Eastern religion? Do they hail from Judeo-Christian? Or are they not tied to specific religious beliefs?
A lot of the principles are totally out of Hinduism and Buddhism.
So out of what?
Totally out of Hinduism and Buddhism. A lot of what we're teaching is 5,000-year-old ancient wisdom from modern times. It's all coming into our society, but in a way that's not sectarian, in a way that's not religious, it's not requiring people to be religious. And
why do you think that is? Because when I think back to the 80s and 90s when I was growing up and celebrities would become, Buddhists or begin to observe Hinduism, it was very religious in nature and it wasn't abstracted to meditation. Now it seems like the principles have been abstracted to more secular principles. Why do you think there was that change?
I think there's this rise in people wanting spirituality and not religion, people wanting the techniques and the principles and the tips and the insights without wanting the baggage that the word religion has come with for so long. So I see that rise, and I think it's great. I think the point is you can get the benefits from practicing these principles in your life, wherever they're coming from.
Jay Shetty, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Come back and let's go through a specific business type issue next time you come back. Okay, are you in New York? Where are you based?
Yes, I'm based in Manhattan.
All right, you're great.
Yeah, I'd love that.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
We'll be right back in a second. Stay right there.
Okay.